Holy crap, everybody. What the heck happened today with Master Universe? I am absolutely over the moon at all the drops, releases, pre-orders, planograms, everything just dropped today. And I don't even understand why. The strategy doesn't make any sense, but I'm loving it. I mean, literally everything, and I do mean everything, including the kitchen sink, has hit the freaking wall. And we, as Master Universe fans, are reaping the benefits. The first thing I wanted to cover today, because there's a lot to cover, is definitely the new 80th Anniversary Mattel editions of Skeletor and He-Man as a 2-pack for their Retro Punch action. This, of course, is celebrating the 80th anniversary of Mattel and, of course, the 40th anniversary of He-Man and the Master Universe. And I gotta tell you, seeing these guys in their squat poses with very limited articulation, I think it's only 5 or 6 POA, has just brought all the nostalgia back to me in so many different ways. But let's take a look at this, guys, and see exactly what was listed on Target.com. Let's have a look. Guys, this Sunday, April 6th, my good friend Danny Grin and I will be at Ajax Collector Con at the Ajax Convention Center. The doors will open at 10 a.m. for early bird attendees and, of course, 11 a.m. for everybody else. It's going to be a great time hanging with all the toy collectors in Ajax and catching up on all the great toy news that's happening all over the world. Danny will be there with some great action figures for sale, and myself, I'll be there promoting El Dragoon, our brand new comic book series, which, of course, is all about luchador wrestling. Who doesn't love that? We premiered this at Toylanta 2025, and it was absolutely epic. The brainchild of my good friend Danny Green. People were just blown away by the overall concept, and we're absolutely humbled at the response that we got, and we're now bringing this to Ontario, Canada at Ajax Collector Con for all of the Canadian fans. We hope to see you guys there. It's happening this April 6th at the Ajax Convention Center, 550 Beck Crescent in Ajax, Ontario. We are really excited to see everybody at this event, and of course, give us a follow on our Instagram page, @eldragoon_, to learn more about El Dragoon, the stories, the characters, and of course, the upcoming action figures, which you'll only learn about if you come to the conventions, so we can tell you all about it. We'll see you there. I don't know what happened with Master Universe today, but basically everything, and I do mean everything that we've been talking about, was literally dumped this Friday. So it's going to take a little while to get through all this. Pre-orders for the Master Universe Retro Punch He-Man and Skeletor 80th Anniversary 2-pack was dropped on Target, along with Sy-Klone, the Sketchbook edition. A little bit of confusion here, and we're going to get into that. But these two are now up for pre-order at Target. And this news comes to us from our good friends at ToyHabits.com. Wonderful news resource for toy news all year round. Give them a like and a follow. Tell them that Jay sent you. Let's take a look at the Retro Punch He-Man and Skeletor first, and then we'll move on to Sy-Klone. According to Toy Habits, the Target pre-order did drop today, and this is really exciting for anybody who is a fan of Master Universe, particularly the vintage original style of Master Universe. Power Punch action, that twisting feature, and of course, these ones apparently come with squishy heads. Let's have a look at this, guys. This is a lot of fun. Thanks to our good friends over at Toy Habits. They have a link for the pre-order right here, and clicking on that link leads us over to Target. But here's where things get a little bit weird. The listing on this is actually mislabeled. It actually says here that this is the Master Universe Origins Sketchbook Series Sy-Klone action figure toy. Obviously, that's not right because the price just reflects that. $44.99 for these two, which doesn't make any sense. And if we head over to the pre-order for Sy-Klone, it actually says the complete opposite, that these are the Master Universe Origins Retro Punching He-Man and Skeletor 80th Anniversary from Mattel. And this one is only $19.99. Let's take a closer look at these figures. The first one, of course, being the Master Universe 2-pack for He-Man and Skeletor, the squishy heads, and of course, Power Punch action. We already had a glimpse of these at New York Toy Fair 2025. They were on display there as Paint Masters, and now we get to take a look at their actual solicitation photos. Let's have a closer look, everybody. So here they are, the dynamic duo themselves. Polar opposites of each other, but they look so great. There's He-Man with his power axe, his power sword, his traditional straps, his wrist guard, and gauntlet, this time colored in their orange motif, along with his traditional belt, furry loincloth, of course, those amazing boots. And of course, we do have Skeletor here with his Havoc staff, his bone heraldry on his straps, along with the Roman-inspired shoulder pauldrons, shoulder leaf armor, the power sword strapped to his back, another Roman-inspired kilt, and his webbed feet. This looks freaking awesome. These guys are literally spitting images of themselves back in 1982. There are some details which we're going to cover which are different from the original release, but honestly, I am so excited for these two, and the fact that we can actually pre-order them right now on Target.com is literally blowing my mind. On first glance, you could possibly mistaken them as vintage figures, but upon closer inspection, you can see a few more details. For example, He-Man's head, for whatever strange reason, they still cannot get it right. This one, once again, is a bit too soft for my liking, as the original one really had a clear definition on the nose, the sharper details on the teeth, the little cleft, the high raised cheeks, even the squared off chin. They were very defined in the original release of He-Man in 1982, and you really can't tell the differences here. This is what I always envisioned as He-Man and will always remember as He-Man. And this one, as close as they're trying to get it, is just a little bit too soft. I just don't understand why it's so difficult to get this right. I guess we'll never really know. Other differences include the fact that he has the newer edition of the Power Sword, and it's interesting to see this now because here, if we zoom in closer to the Power Sword itself, it appears that they are keeping the original gimmick of the two halves of the Power Sword coming together. At least that's what it appears on these photos, as the handle itself is actually cut in half and does have the additional guard on the other side to help He-Man hold on to the sword, as it was depicted in the original version of the 1982 He-Man figures. This is fascinating, and I am actually quite glad that they kept this particular gimmick. Zooming in on Skeletor, we actually can see that this is only half of a Power Sword for Skeletor. You can see clearly that this has been cut in half, and the guard, which allows them to hold on to it as a grip, also present in this particular version. It should be noted that these are more sculpted in the newer edition of the Power Swords, but retains a very interesting shape in homage to the original version of the Power Swords themselves, and really adds to that overall distinctive nature of the Swords of Power. Zooming out, we do see that He-Man does have his traditional shield. I love this thing, and of course, I actually need another one of these, so I'm really glad I'm going to be able to get another chance at getting one. His battle axe is able to strap to his back, and his traditional power straps look so good with all that cordite lining the top as well as the iron cross right in the center. Amazing. Moving down further, we can see that his overall body structure is similar to the vintage release. There are some slight differences though, although I do have to say they did their best to recreate the legs, the arms, the torso, and of course, we are expecting to see that power punch action. Moving over to Skeletor, he really does look very much like his vintage counterpart. The painting on his face is so reminiscent of the original Skeletor. I am loving this. He does appear to have his clawed hands, the webbing on his arms, depicting that he's more of a demonic character. It's a little hard to make out, but there are slight details that have been colored, including the bone heraldry. It's a slightly different color than the actual purple, and even that wonderful crimson jewel right in the center really highlights the differences for these particular characters. It really does appear that they will have that power punch action, and of course, moving down further, we do see that certain parts of Skeletor's feet are actually colored in. A little bit of a wash, perhaps a black wash on top, but he does have each of his individual claws on his feet painted silver. A wonderful addition to the characters, really giving them a new standout feature for this new release. And if we take a look at the straps on Skeletor's back on this shot, it is amazing to see that they've kept the original strap design and not changed it at all, really harkening to the idea that these are an anniversary collection. Skeletor straps do have those 3 small notches, so you can tighten them as tight as you want, and even that clasp at the back, you're even able to holster the Swords of Power on their backs, and it'll be really great to see these two back in action after 40 years of fighting in people's collections. Here we see the absolute reverse of those two fighting, and we can now confirm that every single one of the accessories has been lovingly recreated. The battle axe looks absolutely stunning, very much the way it looked in 1982. The straps are once again faithfully recreated with those 3 little notches and of course that clasp, and you can sheath the battle axe on He-Man's back. Even the shield which comes with He-Man is very traditional, having the 2 little clasps that attach to his wrist and handle which is able to affix right to his open palm. I'm very impressed and I'm really looking forward to collecting these 2 mortal enemies once again 40 years later. And now that we've seen these 2 recreated for 2025, let's have a quick look at Sy-Klone, who just happens to be also pre-orderable right now on Target.com. This article, once again, was written by Michael. Definitely give Toy Habits a like and a follow. Tell him that Jay sent you. Heading over to the pre-order page on Target, we can see that Sy-Klone is available for pre-order. However, He is once again listed incorrectly, as the title reads Master Universe Origins Retro Punchings He-Man and Skeletor 80th Anniversary from Mattel, listed in 1999. This has probably just been mislabeled, but in order to make sure that you get these sets, you have to kind of order both of them. So best of luck to everybody. There he is, Sy-Klone in his Sketch Edition, and I gotta tell you, he looks pretty familiar compared to the original Sy-Klone. Obviously, the head sculpt is completely different. This is more of a kind of Cyclops-looking character. I mean, if you think about X-Men and the single uni eye, that's kind of interesting in its overall design. The overall bottom half of his face is actually reminiscent of Man-E-Faces, with those helmet-like structures on his cheeks. The head itself is very reminiscent, actually, of Sy-Klone. I think they were really starting to develop this character from the ground up, which is refreshing to see. His torso is very, very familiar, as it does have that gigantic circular disc displaying a lenticular, and I do believe this is still a lenticular being used here on the chest for the 2025 Sketch Edition. The armor is looking very Roboto-like, but also does have certain cues like the shoulders on the sides here, again, harkening back to the final design for Sy-Klone. His arms are starting to look more like Sy-Klone, but they do have these weird striations on the arms, which was not present in Sy-Klone's arms. Sy-Klone's arms are actually quite smooth. The disc on Sy-Klone, of course, is also depicting more of a radar dish, and his overall body as a whole is actually rather smooth. The plastic they ended up using on Sy-Klone was actually quite different from the original Master Universe, as it was a little bit more malleable, more of a squishy type of material. This particular disc just appears to be some sort of, again, Sy-Klone type of rotation, and it'll be interesting to see if it can rotate with the lenticular features. Moving down further, we do see a more familiar looking pair of shorts, and his legs do appear to have the inklings of where they were going with the full release of Sy-Klone. The major differences being that the upper parts of his boots don't have that UFO pattern. They're more of a vertical line pattern, and similar to his gloves on the vintage version, do have this unique saucer-like design. And of course, his belt having that almost UFO Saturn type image, being very different from this new Sketch Edition. This edition of Sy-Klone also did come with a ray gun, which is different from the final release of Sy-Klone, as he only came with a shield. And it appears that there are two swappable discs, and upon further inspection, they might not be lenticulars at all, maybe even just made of felt. Interesting. The final accessory that comes with Sy-Klone in the Sketch Edition is a much closer head to the final version of Sy-Klone, which I think is absolutely fascinating. He does look super interesting, more of a Space Ranger type of character, harkening back to the days of Flash Gordon. And with the swappable head feature, we do get to see two different sides of Sy-Klone as he would appear with this particular Sketch Edition. Looking on his back, it's very unique, having these turbines on the back itself. Again, also hearkening to the idea of perhaps a Flash Gordon type of character. That also is reminiscent in his ray gun. Sy-Klone, along with the two Vintage Collection Power Punch Edition Skeletor and He-Man, are now up for pre-order, thanks to our good friends over at ToyHabits.com for sending us the links. Guys, definitely give ToyHabits.com a like and a follow. Tell them that Jay sent you. Today, Mattel and the Master Universe have dropped so many different pre-orders, figures, planograms, and it is a great time to be a Master Universe fan, bar none, as the future is looking bright for Masters of the Universe. Target. You always manage to somewhat disappoint. I myself cannot pre-order these because I'm in Canada, and unfortunately, Target never takes care of my packages when they send them up here. They always seem to get damaged in some sort of way, and I really want this particular set to be absolutely pristine. As well as Sy-Klone. And what really, of course, is a bit of a head shaker is what the heck is with the listing? Why are they mixed up? It really is kind of confusing, and of course, for the price point, you really do want to get these things right, as I don't mind getting a 1995 2-pack, but at the end of the day, I really want that and not have to risk getting a Sy-Klone for $40 freaking dollars, almost $50 in actuality. So let me know in the comment section below, guys. Are you as excited as I am for these blasts from the past, a Sketch Edition of Sy-Klone, and of course, the original Twisting Power Punch for the 80th anniversary of Mattel's Master of the Universe He-Man and Skeletor 2-pack. Are you going to pre-order both of these sets to be sure that you actually get them, considering that their naming conventions is actually mixed up? And are you excited that these have actually been released for the 80th anniversary of Mattel? Or do you already have these in their original vintage state? And Sy-Klone is not what you expect in this Sketch Edition, so again, you can pass them by. Let me know those comments in the comment section below, guys. Toy News continues, everybody, and this is absolutely bonkers. I'm going to be covering all of the crazy drops that were done today on Friday of all days, April 4th, and talking about the planograms for all of the different releases, Cartoon Collection, Thundercats, the Masterverse announcements, and of course, all the pre-orders. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be covering the Master Universe Cross Thundercats pre-orders that are available right now on Entertainment Earth. I will link to that video right here when it posts, and I'll see you guys there. I hope you're all doing well, staying safe. And as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. Master Universe just dropped everything and the kitchen sink today, and I'm absolutely over the moon. Good journey, everybody. Geek proud.